introduction is as follows, and I hope that you like what I've written here, but just we'll see. Okay. Are you looking for a dark romantasy series to sink your teeth into? Well, look no further than Whispers series by the talented and amazing indie author S.K. May, who is joining me today. Today, I am delighted to welcome Simone, aka S.K. May, to the podcast slash channel. She's graciously given her time for me to ask her some questions around her latest publication, Whispers in the Blood, along with her writing process, inspiration, and what exciting projects she has in store for the future. So, welcome, Simone. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Monica.
Oh, of course, it's been an honor. It's a pleasure to connect with you and to be welcomed into your space. And you're pretty much the first indie author that I've really made a connection with in this world. And I know, I think it's a gateway into seeing how friendly a lot of people are in the space. But
Absolutely.
you were definitely the first person that, like, yeah, really got me into this space because it is a bit of it's a new world out there, I think, and I didn't realize how expansive the indie author space was. And I'm sure that was your perspective as well. You're like, yeah, when you join on to Instagram and you see that, oh, there's all these people that will you can connect with and you send them a
Yeah.
follow and everything. And a lot of people, pretty much most people, will follow you back. It will be like
Mm.
a real encouraging space for people to connect.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
really
think,
supportive. It's great.
yeah, it has been really supportive. And you are one of those people that is super supportive for everyone. I see you connect with so many people, and it's very inspiring, in my opinion. So
Thank you.
that's all good. So, to kick things off, I'm wondering if you might be able to share a little bit about yourself with the audience, where you grew up, maybe a bit of background about the writing process and things like that. I'll let you explain.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So odd. Sorry. First time doing one of these, obviously.
Yeah, no
Um,
stress.
so yeah, as Monica said, my name is Simone. I grew up in what you'd call outer suburbs of Melbourne.
Mhm.
And then I've moved further out into Gippsland, Victoria now because I'm not a
Nice.
city girl. I'm a country girl.
No, yeah, yeah. Fair enough.
So, I grew up with my family, two older brothers and an older sister. So I was the baby.
Oh,
So
you're
I was always
the
protected.
baby.
Yes, I'm the
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So four, you're one of four.
one of four. I don't know how my mum did it. I've got three, and that's enough for me.
We'll get into that. Oh,
And then yeah, I went to school, started a law and business degree out of high school,
oh,
and
interesting.
hated it. Absolutely hated.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Ended up dropping out and becoming a full-time waitress and ended up becoming the supervisor, so one of the runners of the restaurant. And
Oh,
then I went back to school and I did my teaching degree
wow.
in history and English, which is
Ah, so that's what you teach.
yeah.
Wow, my
So
goodness.
I
It's,
teach the big kids,
yep.
the ones that are incredibly tall compared to me.
Oh, really? You're not that tall. I can't
Well, I'm
remember.
not short.
No,
Like
I don't think
I'm
you.
5'9", 5'10", so I'm not short. But next
No.
to some of the boys who are like 6 feet, I'm like, hi.
Yeah, I'm surprised because I'm like 5'8", and I always go,
Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of my friends are either a little bit taller than me or much shorter than me. So it's like
But
a
I
little,
think when we met, I was wearing heels, and I think they were like this big too.
oh my goodness. So, and how long have you been writing for? That was going to be my curiosity.
I started writing in 2016.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So I
While ago.
started writing after the loss of my father. It
Oh,
became my
mm,
outlet.
wow.
Um,
Yep.
and I had a dream, and then I wrote 300,000 words over the next 3 years.
Goodness, that's incredible. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's awesome. It just goes to
Yeah.
show that sometimes it does take like a moment in your life to shift priorities and go, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to
Hmm.
just put it out there and just see what happens. Had you been like before 2016 thinking about starting a story, or you probably thought, maybe I don't know if now's the right time to start writing? Had it always been in the back of your mind to give it a
I
go?
think kind of, to be
Yep.
honest, because I'd always watch movies and I'd always find them really predictable. And I'd sit there and I'd go, see, I would change that to that because then you couldn't see it coming until the last second, you know? So I'd always try and
Yes.
flip things in my head to make it a little bit more interesting. Like that was literally what I'd do. Maybe when I was younger, I wrote a few things, but no, I didn't really put pen to paper until 2016.
Yeah, right. That's really interesting that you
So,
say that you find that stories are so predictable, because I find that I'm also that person that will watch movies and series and be that annoying person that's like, yeah, it was
that's
good.
the killer. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if it were me, it'd be cool if that, yeah, and that annoys my
Mm.
sister in particular because she's a movie nut and she's like, "Oh, why didn't you like this movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, I just didn't, I just didn't vibe with like how this would go. I would go out there and write it differently." But it's funny that you bring up about changes and predictability, because I think this is an SK May specialty about being unpredictable. I think
Yeah.
that will be something that we'll get into in a little bit. Um, but speaking of like writing and getting into the writing process, I'm wondering how often you do write in the week slash month or day, whatever it is, like divided into your time, because I can imagine a day in the life of SK May is pretty
I've been
hectic.
asked to do that as a reel, and it is coming. It is coming. The hard
Yeah,
part is I don't show my kids' faces
no,
online, even on my public profile. So I need
yeah,
to make sure that whatever I record, there's no
with the
tiny little
word and
things running
yeah,
across the screen.
yep.
Um, but essentially, my
Yeah.
work's not going to see this, I hope, because I might get in trouble.
Uh,
Um, but like I write mainly at night.
yep,
So
yep.
before I had kids, when I wrote my first novel, I would be up anywhere from 9 p.m. till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I just wouldn't stop. I'd have headphones in, I'd have a movie, or I'd have a music soundtrack, and
Yeah.
it just came out, and I don't know how else to explain it.
Yes.
I just picture it,
Amazing.
and I just like
Go for it.
off I went. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and
amazing.
then
Yeah.
now it's a bit harder with kids, especially when they don't sleep.
Yep.
Um, so I might get about an hour of writing a night, and that will vary between 200 to 2,000 words.
Wow. That
Yeah.
is incredible, because I
Mm.
know from my perspective, and I'm only just like comparing it to myself, I can only maybe write about 200 words in a stint, and then I get a little bit like, oh, yeah, I've got to do some other things now and all that stuff. So I wish I could sit down and bang it all out. And I'm actually curious about when you did, like, say, for example, the time before you had kids and you started at like 9 o'clock and then finished at like 2 in the morning, and you're listening to music and watching not videos, movies. Were the music and the movies similar to the themes that you were writing? No. Okay, that's interesting. What kind of stuff? If you don't mind me
So it
asking.
sounds slightly sociopathic, but I concentrate better with horror movies in the background.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know why. I have asked, a psychology teacher told me apparently the loud noises are comforting so they can help me focus.
Yeah, so it would be like a maybe a white noise kind of thing or
Yeah, I
something
think
in the
so.
back.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then the music might reflect the scenes because there was one song in particular when I was writing my first novel that I played over and over and over again, and it was just a piano and a violin.
Oh, I love that.
that
Classical
that was
music's
all
great.
I would listen to, and it was just so relaxing, and I'd be like, oh, this is so reflective of like a medieval time.
Yes,
So
medieval time and getting into the vibe and all that stuff. I speaking of that, I listen to game soundtracks when I'm writing particular scenes.
Yeah.
Maybe because I do listen to like, I guess, quote unquote, like contemporary music when I'm writing and all that stuff. But sometimes I feel like the vibe, because I am writing fantasy, same as yourself or some of your
Yeah.
other projects
The
that you've
best
written.
genre, sorry. Just
Yes, it is. It is. It 100% is. Um, but with Whispers, I know it takes place. A lot of the scenes are in like a contemporary workplace and world, and in London. Well,
yeah.
contemporary future. Sorry, I should say future, but contemporary, not like a medieval world. So I can imagine that like some modern songs or movies and stuff, like, yeah, that would make sense for that. But I know that in other projects and even projects that I've written, I will be, yeah, listening to like some game soundtracks that don't have lyrics or modern
Mm.
sounding sounds to kind of get me in the headspace for it. So I very much relate to all that stuff. Did you listen to anything in particular or watch anything in particular for Whispers, or was that similar to the violin and piano
Oh, I'm trying to
soundtrack as
remember the no. So there was
well?
one song that I played continually, and I can't remember the artist, but it's the song Infinity.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And I think you've
Yeah.
used that a lot for some reels and stuff. Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, because
Yep.
it is kind of the like a bit of the inspiration of, I can't give too much away per se,
No.
but a bit of the inspiration per se for Nick, because he is centuries old, as we know,
Yes.
our little immortal Nick.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that kind of resonated. And I think I listened to that song one time, 20 times on repeat in like an hour or 2 hours or something.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. And it's such a good choice because the chorus is I believe it's correct. Like I love you till infinity. Is that the
Exactly.
yeah?
Yeah.
And
And
when
I know
I
you've read it. So see, it's really reflective of
yes. Yeah, I think that's a perfect song choice, and I think the lyrics are great. And it's a great sounding song, and it's contemporary.
Yeah.
And I remember, yeah, listening to that with the reels and stuff that you were putting out and thinking, yeah, that song encapsulates a lot of what Whispers in the Blood is about, I would say. But I'm not going to say anything else about well, I don't
I
know
know it's so
anything
hard
else
not
about
to
the
talk about it without spoiling anything, isn't it?
I know. I was going to ask you about more about writing and your process probably before we get into the nitty-gritty about the Whispers series and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I am curious about what you find most enjoyable about writing versus what you find the hardest.
I think the most enjoyable is it's where I can kind of just relax.
hmm
Like I don't need to think about the lessons I have to plan, the trips to school in the morning, everything like that. It's the one time where I can actually sit down and go, all right, let's go into a fantasy world.
Yeah,
So I
escapism.
think that's what I enjoy. I think the part I don't enjoy, and I know I'm an English teacher, but I hate grammar and punctuation.
Oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Totally. I'm like that as well. I used to be an English tutor and I do struggle with spelling. No shame to that. Like I think that English is a really hard language in my opinion. And
I
you're an
think I
English
did
teacher.
better at Italian in school than I did at English at one stage.
Oh, see? There you go. And I think it goes to show that, like, just because you're a writer and just because you're an English teacher, it's okay to also hate the process as well.
Really do.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, I think that makes total sense about the part that you dislike. But to go back to what you enjoy most about writing, I agree that that's probably what I enjoy most about writing as
Mm.
well, is that it is an escape from it all. Sometimes I feel like not like it stresses me out too much, but sometimes I can get a little bit like I'm really trying to like bang something out in a part of a scene and I'm finding the process not enjoyable because I can't just go, go, go. Do you
Mm.
find that you struggle with that, or are you a person that just goes, I'm just going to put whatever's on my mind onto paper and then come back to that later?
I think. So I use notes on my phone, so especially with those late nights when the kids aren't sleeping to stay awake. I would do right, and I don't know if you're going to be able to. No, it's not going to show.
It's not going
But
to show. That's right.
essentially, like I can scroll. I think there's about 20 pages of notes just
Yeah,
from
right.
stories that I literally just write in the middle of the night, and then I transfer them over to the appropriate books.
Yes, that's really interesting because I don't know whether you find that sometimes you kind of find the solution to, I'm struggling to know what the next part is. And then I have the idea like when I'm driving, or I have the idea when I'm in the shower. Now, I can't
Yeah.
bring out my phone necessarily for that stuff there too. But straight after,
Look,
yes, I'll be on the notes.
no, see, I voice message.
Smart.
So one of my beta readers, I will voice message her going, just FYI, don't listen to any further after this. It's for my ears only. I'm driving. And I'll
That's
literally say
hilarious.
it and then I'll send it to her. So then when I get out of the car, in case I've forgotten it, I literally get to my laptop and I go.
That idea. That's so
So it's,
smart.
I don't recommend it, but
That's great.
literally only time that I will touch my phone when I'm
No,
driving.
we all do
So
it.
not
Yes.
encouraging phone.
No, no, we're not encouraging this, but hypothetically, if I set my phone up to know how to do hands-free voice record, which I need to figure that out, then I will be doing that. It does help, and I do see, I appreciate when you send the voice notes, even when we're having our chats and all that stuff. I think it's great. I'm just like, yeah, why not just bring out the phone and just, speak into it rather than just having to type on the phone
Sometimes,
and
as you know, some of the things that I say, like those messages would be so long. So it's just like, it's
yeah,
easier if I just send a voice and then you're like,
yeah.
oh, that's the important part of what she said, rather than reading it going, huh?
Well, also, it's like, I'm sure you got one hand feeding such and such, and you got one hand on the phone being like, yeah, I need to do this. And it's like, well, it's easier than having both hands on the phone, like doing that. So
Yeah,
multitasking, and I'm sure you've mastered the art of multitasking
I
being
try.
Oh, I was having this conversation. I hope you don't mind, but I was having a conversation with some friends at work yesterday because I was telling them about how I'm excited to interview you. And I said, and some of my friends do have children and also work full time with me. And I said, my friend Simone, she's got 3 kids. She works as a teacher and she writes, and she's got one book out already for the Whispers series. She's got the second book, I believe it's almost ready, and it's going to be coming out next year. Oh, we'll get into that as well. She's got in the Curse, Whispers in the Curse
From the
from,
curve.
excuse me, Whispers from the Curse. That is
Yeah.
almost ready to go. And you've got the third one already almost finished, or
30, oh, what did I get to last night? 34,000.
wow. That is going
Yeah.
to be coming out in the not so distant future. So
March.
I was saying that to my friends at work, and one of them goes, "You should ask her about her sleep schedule because I'm sure that it is looking a bit different to perhaps someone that doesn't necessarily have all that stuff." So I'm guessing you
Sleeps
can.
for the week,
That's
don't
right.
you know?
No, my goodness. And you still look amazing as well. So,
As
and
I
then
said to you yesterday, I'm so not wearing makeup.
no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I think it just the important thing is that you're doing all the things that you want to do. And I said to my friends yesterday how personally I'm deeply inspired by that because one of my goals would be, eventually to have children, but also it comes up in my mind thinking when there's so many different things going on, where's the time to write? Where's the time to
Mm.
work? And where's the time to spend time with my you know, potential children. And you're an example of someone that makes it all work.
To a point.
To a point. Yeah.
I will admit, I did just have the last week off work because I've put myself behind a bit. So I kind of needed to catch up on sleep relaxing. Like,
Yeah.
as my principal turned around and said to me, he goes, "You had your first baby 3 years ago." And he goes, "You came back to work." He goes, "And then you had your twins." He goes, "And then you came back to
Yes.
work 4 months after your twins."
Yeah.
He goes, "And you're working full time." He goes, "And you have a really heavy load." He goes, "You haven't actually like slowed down."
And you're
So he's
human.
like, yeah, he goes, "Take your week." He goes, "If you want another one, take another one. Just come
Yeah.
back better." And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And I think that goes
Yeah.
to show how also having a supportive workplace as
Yeah.
well helps with that too. I'm guessing also there's help in your world to
Yeah.
also, yeah, along the way with having the children and also writing and work. It really helps that you've got a supportive workplace, but I'm guessing also your family is very supportive and helpful, and your husband too. And because that,
I
yeah.
I've actually started recording my husband because I'll say things and it'll spoil stuff, and his reactions are just hilarious.
He cracks me up some of the stuff that you send as well. I was like, this is a power couple. I love that. I love how you both get involved.
Yeah, like I did record him finishing the end of the years. I haven't edited it because he reads very slowly. He's
That's
not a
okay.
big reader, but
Yep.
he reads to support me, obviously.
But he read
So I
it.
have to edit the end of it. And he just sat there and he goes, "That's where you leave me. That's what you've done to me. Where's book two?" And I've literally grabbed it off the kitchen table and I've gone, "Here."
So he's lucky, one of the perks of get married to you is that he gets first access to the
Well,
update.
no, because I accidentally revealed spoilers, like the chapter 40 spoiler he didn't know about. And I told him by accident before then. He goes, "Wait, that, no."
Yes, chapter
And he's like,
40.
"How could you do that?" And I'm like, "Well,
Well, it worked. And
it did.
we'll get into that as well. But yeah, the twists and turns that were in your latest work that is completely out, Whispers in the Blood, has a lot of twists and turns, we'll just say. And I'm guessing for the future, Turn Book 3, it will be a similar theme. Some surprises and things like that. So, if you're ready for it, I would love to get into Whispers in the Blood with you. I want to maybe go back to the start of the conception, so to speak, of Whispers in the Blood and the Whispers series. I'm wondering where the idea kind of came from.
A
Um,
photo.
oh, yes. Now I'm going to have to show this photo because you sent it to me, didn't you?
I
In
think I did a while
Yes.
ago. Yeah, the guy in the suit with the red tie.
Yes, explain that. So it was the guy in the suit with the red tie, and you can't see his face.
No, 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 you can see
You
his
can.
face.
You can see his
Um,
face. Yep.
yeah, you can see his face and he's holding a coffee. It literally popped up on my Instagram feed.
And
Um, I'd
where
just
was
gone back
that?
to work too. When did 2022, and it was the end of the year, and I had a few senior classes, so my workload had dropped after the seniors finished,
Yep.
and I literally would be sitting in junior classes because at the end of the school year, when all the assessments are done, there's
It's not
pretty
much
much
to do.
not much for the kids to do, and a lot of the kids drop off. So it's
Yep.
not to sound mean, I pretty much become a babysitter by the end of the year.
Yes.
So I can literally sit at my laptop and do that stuff. And
Yeah.
that photo was literally Nick was the creation of the story.
Yes. So
Like Nick
he
started
started
it,
it.
even though majority of it is written in Larissa's point of view. Nick ended up starting the story, just his character, and then I built from there. And then I was like, I need a girl to match him, and then I created Larissa, and it went from
Yeah.
there.
And then it goes from there. I find that
Yeah.
really interesting because Larissa is a strong female character, as the archetype would say. And I find it interesting that Nick was actually the catalyst for Whispers in the Blood, rather because Larissa is such a strong character and she drives a lot of the plot and it is following her story. But when you do say that, it does make a lot of sense that it is Nick's story because he is the one that has been around for centuries and he has seen a lot. And I can imagine that there is so much that you can write about with him and
Hmm.
his world, and seeing that photo, I find that really interesting that you were able to craft an entire universe from a photo.
I mean, it really helped that the photo of the guy is a model and he has an Instagram page. So it's really
Oh.
easy. If I just go onto that person's Instagram page, I get plenty of inspiration of outfits or scenes or anything like that.
So you would get inspiration not only from the look of the model, but also the clothes they would wear.
Yeah.
And that comes through a lot in what you were writing with the office scenes. And
Yes.
yeah, I'm not going to say more. But yeah, and even the coffee, even the way that you were able to talk about how the coffee in that photo also was part of a important scene in Whispers in the
I think
Blood
I
with
can
the
spoil that one though. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
too
That's
bad. I
okay.
mean, I found that scene writing it super cute when they first met.
Yeah, yeah. You like a good what do you call it? The meet cute? Is that the term?
Yes.
Or the yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so writing that, was that like your an idea that you'd wanted to write for a while of an ideal meet cute, or do you have like some other meet cute ideas that
No,
um
that was where it went. Like her
yeah,
being hungover and, she
yeah.
spilt her coffee all over the floor and he comes over and hands her a napkin going here and she's just like,
I look like absolute nothing in this moment, and yet I'm just staring up at this gorgeous man.
yeah. And then I spill the rest of my coffee all down his suit.
But it makes for a great story, because if you can't love someone at their worst, how are you meant
Right?
to love them at their best, you know? Yeah, I found that really cute. And I also really enjoyed the banter that happened in the office as well, with the receptionists as well. And
Oh, Travis and Alina.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, I like that. Yeah, I can see that they're also painting this image of Nick, the mysterious, and Larissa gets the privilege of being invited into his world. I think I like reading a lot of stories that one person from this world and then another
Yeah.
person in this totally different world, and they invite each other to that and seeing how things go. And I
Mm.
think it was very interesting to see how things went with those two.
Yeah. Small town girl, big city boy. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And I'm wondering, and you don't have to answer this in depth, but were there any parallels to your life or your experiences that influenced Whispers in the Blood?
Only part would have been the fact that she was a waitress. I
Yeah.
think that would have been it. Like, I don't think I share a lot of traits with Larissa.
Hmm.
Like, she's incredibly stubborn, that girl. I'll say that much. I'm at least willing to admit when I'm wrong, she not so much. Yeah, so no, probably that's about it, to be honest.
I'm also curious if there was any particular person or character or actor or whatever. No, no
No,
vibe. No, it's
no,
interesting.
I kind of created her from scratch.
Oh, yeah, she's beautiful. I love that picture. So gorgeous. Shout out to the artist who did that.
She's talented.
Yeah,
As
gorgeous.
are you, of course, with all my
Oh,
logo, everything.
oh, thank you. I am learning a few things about character illustration, and I would like to pick up some more inspiration. So, but
Yeah.
I guess designing is also like what I usually do in my stuff anyway. But I was going to ask about Whispers again and the whole series. Were there any other bits of media slash books slash TV shows that inspired the creation of it? I know we talked about maybe the soundtrack with that Love You for Infinity song. But yeah, I'm
No,
curious to.
no TV show, like no like Vampire Diaries, no True Blood, no, no, because like the story's built in around mythology, so there's not really. I
Mm.
won't go into too much detail, um, as you know.
No, we don't want to say too much about it all.
Um, but that's kind of the common theme in all three of them is the mythology that's underlying in the entire books. So
Yes.
there's no real TV series that kind of,
No.
yeah, no. Because
I
even
think
like there's Percy Jackson, but that's Greek mythology, and this one's not Greek. So
no,
yeah.
it's a different mythology, isn't it? Is it something to do
Yeah.
with like, the Celtic kind of stuff
No,
or no?
Roman.
Roman. Okay, that's oh,
Mm.
yes. Yes, another hint of some other yes character names that come up there. When I was reading Whispers, I felt like there were some parallels to, I don't know whether you've read or I think it is a TV show, Discovery of Witches, I think. I think that's what it's called
No.
there. But it does follow a relationship between a vampire and a witch. I don't know whether I can say too much about um, the revelation, all that stuff, and maybe I'll edit that out. But it does follow a relationship with a younger
I think you
woman.
can leave it in because I
Yeah.
do say magic
Yes. Yes,
in
you do.
like, yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can leave that in.
Yeah, yeah. Like, it does follow a relationship between those two that, there's a lot of differences between your book and this one. But I think that that is also another great, maybe it's a trope. I don't know. But like how we were talking about the crossing over of worlds and
Mm.
two different worlds that come together in the vampire world and also the magic witchy world. And I love that. I find that so interesting because it's so different from the day-to-day lives that we live, unless you are a witch. But yeah, I don't know anything about the witchy the witchy
Well,
world.
neither do I. I've certainly been learning.
How exciting was it for you to have your book be sold in Dymocks Knox? Because I was very
Within
excited.
3 days. Yeah.
How did you feel? Oh my goodness.
Like, I know there was only five of them, so there wasn't a lot, but it was still like when she emailed me, she goes, "Oh, by the way, I need more stock." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, that would be a
So,
pin to me moment.
yeah, I certainly didn't like expect that because Knox was similar to where I kind of grew up. So Knox Ringwood area, all the bookstores in there where I bought a lot of my books. So the fact that
Yeah.
it sold out in such a small amount of time, I was like, wow, that
That
happened.
happened. It really did. And it's a testament to show how successful Whispers is and will also grow in success because, in my opinion, the recipe for the success that it has acquired is the fact that it's visually appealing, heavily visually appealing, and not only the cover, but also the insides as well. Talk to me more about the cover and the inspiration that went behind that.
Inside as well for anyone.
Chapter 40, must read.
Um, the inspiration. Look, I'm not going to lie. I actually was struggling with a cover that I actually
Mhm.
Googled. I did the AI thingy on there and I
Yep.
said, create a cover for Whispers in the Blood.
Yep.
It came up with all these solutions and I didn't like any of them, but I liked pieces of various different
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
So I told Emily, my cover designer, I said, I want a golden heart, but I want it with like black goo or like rusted. I want it damaged,
Damage.
because it's going to signify something. So can you do that? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. She goes, what about the other stuff? And I literally said to her, I said, I want a red border. I said, but in terms of the heading, I actually don't know. I said, because I don't know what's going to go. I said, I'm not creative that way. Like I'm terrible at art. So I don't know. And I said, I'll leave that up to you and you can,
Go for it.
because she's like, what font? And I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, no, that's hard. If you're not in the space, that's like, I don't know, a nice one.
Exactly. And I was just like, I really don't know. She goes, all right, leave it with me. I'll see what we've got. So, and then she came up with that. And the thing that I really love, she put the exclamation mark in the series at the top. And I was like, I actually really love that
Yeah.
because it was originally going to have something along the spine that connected all three of them. And she
Yep.
goes, but because the title's so big, she goes, do you want me to make that smaller to make it there? And I'm like, actually, no, it's like you've created a masterpiece.
Yes, she has. I totally
Like
agree with
even
that.
because you don't have a paperback, do you?
No, I don't, which
No.
I need
So, like,
to.
she followed the border, and you can't see really, but she followed
I
the
can,
border through
yes,
on the
yes.
inside. And it's just like, you have just, like, I don't know how she did that.
Yeah, it's great. She's got a brilliant mind, and I'll have to link her as well in this podcast slash video. And I've also done a shout out in my Substack blog post
I
as well.
emailed that to her as well, and she's like, oh,
Well, she deserves it because she's really hit the nail on the head. When you think about vampires, you do obviously think of blood and you think of darkness and all that kind of stuff, but there's new ways to do it. And I think this is an example of doing it in a new, fresh way. And also in the inside, I really liked how, and I'll try and describe the border for people listening as well, but it is like a grayish kind of border that goes at the top of each
mm,
chapter. So each chapter also has the letter C nice and bold with like some dripping blood in the
mm,
chapter part. And then I can't remember, is it like a lacy sort of, I've got like the ebook.
kind
So
of. Like, you can't quite tell, but yeah.
yeah, like a I was gonna say like distressed kind of look to
Yeah.
it at the top. It's very subtle, but
Yeah.
it does help to also show where the chapter, a new chapter begins. And it's those little pieces of attention to detail that also speak to the attention to detail that you've put in your book in the way of describing the aesthetics in the landscape and the places that the characters live in the flats in London and the country town. It sounds very Aussie, doesn't it?
I think Shaftesbury is classified as a country town in London.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, I should say that yes, it is not a young adult book at all.
Yes.
No, 18 years and above.
Yeah.
And I think that also does very well in the Bookstagram book talk space because people love it. Romantasy is a buzzword that
Mm.
people are really interested in. And I think do you see yourself only writing in the romantasy space for the progression of your career, or have you thought about maybe writing like a romance novel that is, I guess, not fantasy related? I don't know.
All of them but one. All but
Okay.
one are fantasy. The other one is a contemporary. It's fully done,
My goodness.
but it doesn't have a happily ever after.
And you
So
can see yourself publishing that maybe after Whispers and after the Airs too,
I
perhaps.
don't. I know. See, there's another story at the moment that I've sent to a few people, and they are absolutely love Drake is his name. They love him. So
Yeah.
they're like, when is Drake coming out? And it's like, okay, okay.
Yeah, so you have to do it. I think you've got the tick of approval from a lot of people.
It wasn't on my plans, but apparently,
I think you just have to go with the flow with this kind of stuff. And being an indie author, you have so much control over
yeah.
what you want to do and what you want to put out. It was like with the Alara and the Passing short story that I
Mm,
released, I had no plans really to release it. I only did it because I was still waiting for Still Waters Run Deep to come out. And I was twiddling my thumbs thinking, oh, I should probably do something. I was just going to send it out as like a PDF for people that wanted to read it. It wasn't going to be like a full thing that it's become, but I'm so glad I did it. So I hope to see this creation of like your contemporary romance book come to life. So the last thing that I wanted to ask is perhaps any advice that you may have for people, new writers, people wanting to self-publish. Do you have any little bits of information that might help?
find your team.
Yeah, find a team.
Like, I love Laura from Hummingbird. She's
Shout out.
just, I think you've booked with her too, haven't
I
you?
have, yeah,
She is just, she's awesome. Like, she's
yeah.
hilarious, and she'll put notes in like the little margins of your story, and she'll be like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming, or oh my God, like, and
I
I
love that.
love this scene. This is perfect, like she's your cheerleader at the same time because
Yeah,
imposter syndrome like hits you well, it hits me 24/7. I literally
Yep.
sit there and I go, is it any good? Are people just saying it because they're saying it?
Yep.
So I have my team, like I've got some beta readers. I have Laura, I have and a few other authors as well that I speak to and figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's incredible. And I think that's an amazing piece of advice because that also is something that has helped me connecting to other people in this industry, this little industry that it is, the Bookstagram, Book Talk, indie authors, Aussie indie authors as well. Oh yeah, that's the name of also the Instagram page that helps a lot with supporting each other. But I
Yes,
think
Crystal.
also, yeah, Crystal, she's awesome too. Shout out to Crystal. But I love that you talk about advice being something that is, sorry, your piece of advice is to connect with people because social media, I know that it is meant to be social, but sometimes it can feel like you're in a silo and you're
Mm.
just working your own way and you're just connecting with a computer screen. But I see the way that you connect with other authors and people out there, and I love it and it's inspiring. So, any other aspiring authors out there, look at how Simone does it
I don't
because
know what I do.
you're consistent and you're open-minded and you give things a go. And I've learnt to do that, to give it a go. And I think it's shown up in how you talk to people because you're also a really friendly person as well, that the ingredients to your success, I would say, is how you navigate this space. And I'm sure it feels natural to you, but for someone like myself that I'm still learning this stuff, I very much look to you for inspiration for that. So thank
Oh,
you.
Monica.
Oh, of course, I just speak the truth. Those are my thoughts, seriously, because yeah, you have really helped me and inspired me on my self-publishing journey to get some stuff out. And I can't wait to see what comes next. So, to wrap up, you have coming up next, you have Whispers from the Curse, which is coming out officially when? Do you have
January.
a date?
Yeah, I'll announce it. 25th.
Okay. 25th. You heard it here first. 20 whenever this gets published. 25th of January. Mark your calendars. We
Yeah.
have the highly anticipated sequel to Whispers in the Blood.
It's a bit different.
I expect nothing less from the queen of twists and turns.
There's a lot more Nick. There's a lot more
Yes.
Nick. And there is actually a chapter from another character that was introduced in book one. I'll say his name, but we won't say much more. I'm trying to
Hmm.
find him so I can show you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roman.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So it's going to be a perspective from Roman.
And then in book three, it's different again.
Oh my goodness. You're killing us with all these twists and turns, but we love it.
Look, everything I do actually has meaning behind it, from the color
Yeah.
backgrounds to what the rose represents.
Yes.
Everything is actually a hint, but people don't realize it until they've read it and then they've looked back going, it was all there.
And then we've got the curse and the rose in it's a rose, is that right? In the center? Yes, okay. So the very
Golden.
last golden rose for people
Mhm.
listening, you can make of that what you want. I don't
You
know.
still won't know what's going to happen, but
No,
yes.
no, I have no idea. And do you have any idea for the last book's cover, or is that highly?
It's done.
Oh, the cover's done. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep. And it's up to you whether you want to share anything to it,
I
but
can't because the end of, as you know, the end leads to the next ones.
yep.
So yeah, I can't say anything just yet, but it has the same everything, just this thing
Yes.
represents whatever this word is.
Okay. So the symbol in the item in the middle represents the last word of
Yeah.
the book cover. Great. That's awesome. And it is a trilogy, or are you
Yeah.
planning to extend? Okay, that's it after book three.
I've been asked to write some standalones
Oh, wow.
from other characters. So Laura has said that she would like a Roman book.
Yep.
And she'd also like a Luce book. So Luce,
Wow.
as we know, is Larissa's twin sister.
Yes, I would love to read that personally.
Yeah.
I love that.
She's like, I'd actually like to know more about her because as we know, Luce is very,
Mm.
I don't know how to explain her in a nice
Yeah,
way.
kind of like a polarizing character in some way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
part of me that, and maybe it's a bit of a soft spot that I have for maybe not the antagonist, but maybe the ones that come across as, oh, I don't like you. And I kind of go, yeah, but I want to know why I don't like, or, are they really that bad underneath it all? I love knowing more about the background. Yes, you're giving me that cheeky smile that I'm like, maybe I'm asking too many questions.
My beta reader, safe to say, she liked Luce after the end of book two.
Okay, that's all I need to
So,
know.
yeah. We know that she was naughty in book one, but she does kind of redeem herself in book two. So that's
Okay,
the reason why Laura, my editor, is also like, yeah, I kind of want a loose book.
yeah, I think we all
So
do. I think we all do. And I think we all want a Roman book too. I think that if you were to write those, they would be very well received. Very
they'd
well
be very
received.
short.
Yeah, short's fun. Hey, you're talking to the
True, Alara. Yeah, yeah.
Alara, very short. And a lot of critiques were, where's the end? Where's you can't just leave it like that. But I
But you
had
did
to.
it for a reason because you're building the hype for Still Waters Run Deep.
That's
So
right. I had to, and it was written after Still Waters Run Deep and all. Yeah, anyway, we won't get into that because it's a long story. But finally, I just want to ask, where can people find you? What social media platforms do you have currently running for people to find you?
Instagram and TikTok.
And the handle is, I've got
I
it
think it's
here.
just SKMA author, isn't it?
Yes, all in
Yeah.
one word. And it's the
Yeah.
same on TikTok. And people can get in contact with you there if they want to find out more. Your book, Whispers in the Blood, is available,
Everywhere.
everywhere. Dimmick's
Everywhere.
Knots. Get onto
Yes.
it. Dimmick.
And a few other bookstores as well. So
Yeah, yeah. Some indie bookstores too.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Novel Nook, Gracie and Lou. Yeah.
Quite a few. It's everywhere. Get your hands on it. Get your hands on the ebook if you prefer reading on the Kindle. Get your hands on the paperback because it's gorgeous. And you still get the motifs on the chapter pages in the ebook as well as the paperback. So that's important to note as well. You're not missing out on anything. But also I want to shout out that you have a Etsy store as well.
Yes. So that's
Yes.
the other thing. If you purchase through Etsy, you get the art. And book two is getting some art as well.
That is music to my ears. I love it. Thank you so much
There
for
was
everything.
actually in my newsletter, there was a spoiler on what the art is.
Yes, there was. Now also get involved with Simone's newsletter, which you can sign up on her Instagram page if you go onto Linktree. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Get onto it, guys. Find out more about the dark romantasy world that you're creating. So thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And thank you for offering your time to talk about everything to do with Whispers because I really appreciate it. I know you've got a busy life. So,
Hey, it's been an hour of no screaming kids.
what bliss.